We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important message from the Self Discovery Diaries network. If you're anything like me right now, you've currently entered a part of your life where you're trying to get yourself together. You have a lot of bad habits you're trying to break. So if you care about just getting rid of your bad habits and trying to make sure you improve yourself to the best possible person you can be, keep on watching, because I have a personal story for you that's going to help you get rid of your bad habits too.
Only been a few hours, but it felt like days. Only been days, but it felt like months. Been gone for a year, only know like once. Life moves fast when you're doing what you want.
All right. So, hey, my name is Bree, and welcome back, or welcome if you're new, to Self Discovery Diaries. On this channel, I make it a mission to document all the ways I am improving myself and sharing the things that I document with you. So if you're interested in self-improvement, fitness, running content, all those type of things, and even some fun side quests, make sure you stick around, because that's what I'm trying to bring to the community. Please make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications so you'll never miss an upload from me when I upload any type of video. So in today's video, I want to share a story about some habits that I have identified within myself and what I plan on doing to get rid of these habits. To be honest enough to say, like, these are habits that I'm currently struggling with. So what I want to do, and I have my notes down here so I make sure I stay in order, is I want to describe the habits that I have, how I identify these habits, what did I learn about myself while identifying these habits, and what do I plan to do moving forward. So if you're interested in anything like that, just stay tuned and keep on watching. So I've been journaling for about a week now. And what I've noticed is that I have habits that really could be a hindrance to my fitness journey. And at first it was a little jarring to me because, in the last video, I always said that, I've been struggling with perfectionism. To hear that I have habits that are counterproductive, it really put me in the mood of okay, really, Brianna, you got another thing we got to work on. So I said, okay, we're not going to overwhelm ourselves. Let's just pick a good even number, decided on 8. So I'm going to list off 8 key habits that I want to get rid of, and we're going to talk about each habit and what I've discovered basically by journaling on this page. So the 8 key habits that I want to get rid of is inconsistency, procrastination, anxiousness, poor planning, lack of detailed goal setting, not checking in with myself or self-check-ins, overthinking, and dwelling on the past. Each of these habits in some shape, form, or fashion has either shown up in my life and manifest in a way I have gained weight because they're tied to something emotional, or when I tried to do health and fitness in the past, I did not do well in my fitness journey in previous times and I end up quitting before. So we're going to talk about each habit. We're going to talk about the method of the 5 whys, and then we're going to talk about how the 5 whys led me to identify the habit and how do I want to move forward. So I just introduced something new to you. It's the 5 whys. I was up early in the morning of Sunday on my Kindle Unlimited subscription, and I was looking for free self-help books. And what I found on Kindle was the 5 whys. And basically it was a short 15-minute read, and the exercise is you write down a problem or a habit or something you want to correct. And then you write down 5 why questions. And each time you answer the question, it's supposed to get you closer to the root cause of the problem. By the 5th why, you probably will figure out or be as close to the root problem as you possibly can. What I did was I took my piece of paper, I wrote down all 8 habits that I had that I really want to get rid of. And then for each habit, I just wrote down 5 whys. So now we've gotten to the point of the video where I'm going to really start being personal or open with you, and don't you judge me. If you do judge me, I don't care. The reason why I'm sharing this part of the video is because I really want this exercise to help people who are also going on fitness and wellness journeys themselves, to detail what habits might be stopping them or hindering them from progressing further. So I'm going to open myself up because I'm trying to help you out. All right. So the first habit that I really want to get rid of is inconsistency. I have a big problem with inconsistency. I'll start something, then I get bored halfway, then I throw it away. First habit I wanted to tackle was that one. My first question was, why am I inconsistent? And I wrote, I get started and I feel motivated in the beginning. As time has passed along, I'm not as motivated anymore. So what I mean by that is that I would start something, I'll be super hyped, I'll be super excited for it, and then as time goes on, I'm bored with it, and then I want to throw it away. So my second why is, well, as time goes on, why do I not feel motivated anymore? I wrote, I don't see the results I want as quickly as I do. So if I'm not, seeing the results within a week or 2 or 3, I'll just quickly get bored and want to throw it away. So the next why. So why do I want quick results? And I wrote, I am impatient and it's hard for me to stay for the long haul in the process. I want to see results when I want to see them. Why am I impatient? I'm impatient when I really want something quickly. I feel as if I need quick wins to get me through the process. All right, so in the final why do you forget about things that are not tangible to you or evidence of quick wins of quick processes? And here's the final thing. I'm often not stimulated enough to keep going. I have lost or I lose interest if nothing is stimulating enough. It's gotten worse as I've gotten older with the introduction of different things like social media, technology, etc., etc. When I realized this about myself, that inconsistency is just a struggle of stimulation, I was like, oh, if this process works, I think I'm having a character flaw by not maintaining, motivation, consistency, discipline, none of that stuff. It's not a character flaw. I'm just like, okay, I'm not stimulated enough because I've been inundated with technology. So now that I notice that my inconsistency is a stimulation problem, here's a possible solution that I need to work on in order to combat that problem. So when it comes to my fitness journey, I won't struggle as much. A possible solution that I might need to implement is to learn to focus more on the process than a reward. So when it comes to working out, for example, we're focusing on getting better at the process of taking care of our body.
Instead of like, okay, well, I ain't get no abs in 3 weeks. I can just quit this thing.
And I think a lot of us who are on this fitness journey, who stop and start and stop again, we are struggling with inconsistency. Inconsistency is just lack of stimulation. And the possible solution is, instead of looking for quick wins and quick hits, I just need to figure out how to fall in love with the process of something rather than the end result of something. All right, so let's move on to habit 2, procrastination. So here are the questions that I ask myself of why I struggle with the habit of procrastination. Before I get into that, I want to say the habit of procrastination often shows up for me as, if I didn't feel like doing a workout today, I just wouldn't do it. I'll move it to a different day. If I didn't feel like cooking today, I'll just go get something to eat. Procrastination can be a hindrance in my fitness journey. So I wanted to combat the habit of procrastination to focus on, like, if I need to do something, I'm going to stick to it and do it. So here are the 5 whys of why I struggle with procrastination. So I asked myself, why do I procrastinate? And I answered, I sometimes procrastinate if I don't feel a sense of urgency. Now, why is there no sense of urgency in a particular thing? There is no deadline that is associated with this task or the problem. So number 3, why is there no deadline attached to the problem? The entity does not have a deadline already attached to it. If it's not due by 3 o'clock next Tuesday, it's in the air, so I don't really have to worry about it. So question number 4, if the thing don't have a deadline, or let's say I'm dealing with a person, they don't have a deadline, why didn't I ask for a deadline or make a deadline? And I said, I did not feel the need to at the time. If a deadline is not provided already, I don't feel like making it urgent. All right, and then number 5, why is a deadline not provided for the task or the thing? I stated, I probably do not deem it as important because it's not as important as the other things that are going on in my life right now. I simply forget about it because it has nowhere to go, i.e. it's not on my calendar. Basically, I struggle with procrastination because there's a thing, whatever it is, if it's not on a calendar with a big red due by deadline date, I don't find it important. So let's just use the example of, we could talk about my current health and fitness journey. technically I don't have like, oh, I need to lose X amount of pounds by this date. And I thought I was doing myself a service by not putting so much pressure on myself that if I don't lose the weight by this date, I'll be all right. Because there is no attachment date to my weight loss, I might not be taking it as serious as I feel like I should be taking it. It's not as revved up as probably as it should be because I don't have a big old date that I need to be like, okay, I have to have all my stuff accomplished by this date. And I might need to journal with myself to see if I can negotiate something of where I put like, pedal to the metal when it comes to putting a deadline of when do I want to lose weight by. So I learned about myself when it comes to procrastination. If nothing doesn't have a deadline, I don't find it important. And maybe you struggle with that too. If you're a person that really procrastinates, that's most likely what your problem is. So here's the solution. If the tasks don't have a deadline, make a deadline. Everything needs to have a deadline. You have no excuses. Don't leave no wiggle room for nothing, because if you leave wiggle room for something, you'll tell yourself it's not important. I can do it later. I don't have to worry about it. And then you'll just try to wiggle your way out of it. All right, moving on. Habit number 3. And one of the habits I really cannot stand, anxiousness. I do, and I've always struggled with some sort of like anxious feeling. And I noticed this is a hindrance on my emotional well-being, which hinders my health and fitness. So I asked myself the 5 whys to figure out why I've probably always been a little anxious. First why. Why am I anxious? Worried or stressed about something. That's usually how it starts, or it's the surface level. Now, why am I worried or stressed? For me, now this is me specific when we get into these parts of anxiousness. Something that I am excited for or I really care about, it's not going the way I want or I thought it should go. Now, why does it matter that it goes the way I want it to go? It's the way I envisioned it in my head. A lot of times I have something envisioned in my head how I thought it would go, and it's not going the way I think it should match up. So then I start feeling some type of way about something, and then I start having these feelings that I'm like, all right, sad, angry, upset about something, and I'm like, okay, it's causing harm and stress to my body. Why do you envision anything the way you envision it? It was my way of putting my expectation on the thing. Are we getting deeper? We're getting personal, and I'm like, oh, this feels ill. And the final why. Why do you have an expectation for anything? I am trying to create where I put the thing so it'll make sense to me. And that has taken an emotional toll on me for so long. My mom used to say this anecdote about every year I would struggle with the beginning of the school year. And not until I became an adult, I really started realizing that I'm just anxious for things that I don't completely have an understanding for. Now, why this anxious feeling is important for me to work out on my fitness journey is because fitness is a completely new area for me. And I don't want to bring that anxious feeling into an area that I'm like, okay, overall I enjoy it, but there might be some parts of fitness and health and wellness and trying to be a YouTuber and trying to do all these other things on social media I don't understand. And I notice too, when I'm anxious and I'm not getting the questions answered for things, I kind of want to self-sabotage and throw it all away. I'm actively trying to work out like, okay, everything is not going to show up the way you think it is, but don't scrap the whole journey, because you never know, it could be much more beautiful than what you think it is. So that was my whole spiel of like, okay, anxiousness is going to really rob me of my health and fitness journey if I don't allow the process to do what it needs to do instead of the process showing up the way I think it should show up. All right, moving on. So what I learned about myself when it comes to anxiousness is I put a script on something or someone or an event that really doesn't go there. The person or the thing or the event do not follow the script that I have in my head or the fake protocol that I made up. All right, questions arise as a result, and then no answers provide no clarity, and it leads me to feeling uncomfortable. What I need to do to combat this anxiousness is just stop putting my own label on everything. I probably am mislabeling a lot of things, and I need to study what or who the thing is or who the person are, because I wrote it for encompassing things. It could be people, it could be ancientness, also could be dealing with people too. When I allow things to reveal itself or allow people to reveal themselves in the authentic way, there's no room for misjudgment or mislabeling. It takes time and patience with observation. And that's another thing too. Because I'm so inconsistent with things, I don't understand what's happening and I'm being anxious about it. So I have to put in time and effort in order to understand, like, oh, this is how the process goes. Okay, I just made it up in my mind of what I thought it would be. Number 4, poor planning. I think I'd be having a broad term of what I want, but I don't sit down and make like a key detailed list of what I want, like how I'm gonna achieve it step by step. And then it flows into like the inconsistency and the procrastination. I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing. So, when it comes to the fitness space, poor planning shows up for me is like, okay, let's say I have a workout, but I have other obligations in my life. Because I didn't plan out my day well, I'm just like procrastinating. When I procrastinate, I'll just be like, all right, I'm not going to do it. I'm getting better at not having those many days, but I'm only saying this because I'm honest enough to say that I do still have those days. I do have those days I did not plan well enough. Life happens, and I'm like, I don't want to do this workout. We'll just skip it over to tomorrow. All right, so when it comes to poor planning, why am I poorly planning? That was my first why. The answer to that was I do not know how to plan for the thing or the event. So why do I not know what to plan or how to plan for the thing or the event? And I stated I fully don't understand the structure of the thing or the event. The next question I asked myself, why do you not understand the structure? And I stated I don't make sure I ask enough questions or have enough questions to clarify what the thing is so I can structure it properly. And then I asked myself, why do I not ask enough questions? So I wrote, felt as if it wasn't safe enough to ask the question for clarification. What I mean by I didn't feel safe enough to ask questions, that's more of an emotional standpoint. A lot of stuff I've noticed too is like, emotionally, I've dealt with things that kind of like have made me feel some type of way. And I guess the physical manifestation of how I've felt about myself has shown up in my weight. So certain answers may like dive into that type of thing. So the final why. Why don't you feel safe to ask the questions you need to ask? Or when it comes to myself, why do I not feel safe enough to deal with the things I need to deal with? Attitudes threw me off, whether it was other people, attitudes within myself, etc. So sometimes I just leave it because I really didn't want to be bothered. So to get away from the feeling of not wanting to be bothered with it, I pretend like I got it, or I'll deal with it later, or I'll figure it out as I go along, instead of saying I don't have this. So what I've learned about myself when it comes to poor planning, when there was other people involved, intentions were high. To avoid the conflict or get out of the conflict, I would just get out of the situation. So I'll pretend like I have it and then I'll just move along. I'm uncomfortable. I am triggered. I am just annoyed with it right now. So according to notes, my possible solution is when I deal with people, I have two options. I can do the thing or deal with the person when I'm in a better mood. We don't do this at all. Now, when it comes to myself, I'm going to have to put on my big girl panties and wait till I'm in a better mood to do stuff. Sometimes I'm going to have to, learn how to breathe and work through stuff that makes me uncomfortable. I can do it in certain areas. In certain areas, I struggle with. I have to learn that poor planning makes for poor life choices, as far as like, if I don't have a plan, then I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just flailing around and I don't have no direction. And when it comes to this health and fitness thing, this YouTube thing, a lot of it, basically all of it needs direction. All right, so for 5, goal setting. I'm usually like, a fly-by-night type of person for the most part. I wish I was like type A and kind of like goal setting, very detailed out. I'm not. I'm not a detailed goal setting person. I get the gist of what it is and then I just kind of wing it. But I'm learning it's not going to work in every situation. So I need to be more of a goal setting type person. So the 5 whys of goal setting. Why you're not detailed enough when it comes to goal setting. Not completely sure what I need to be detailed about when it comes to my goals. Question 2. Why are you not sure about the details when it comes to your own goals? Because I don't ask myself the right questions. All right, so number 3. Why do I not ask myself the right questions? And I wrote, I do not know what questions to ask. So, number 4, why do I not know? Why do you not know what questions to ask yourself? I wrote, I have a broad understanding of what I want, but I am unclear on the specifics I would like to see because I don't spend enough time to map out what I want. Also, some of it can be that I am afraid to say what I want out loud for the purpose that if I name it, I attach myself to it. And I attach myself to an outcome, and if the outcome doesn't show the way I want it, I'll be disappointed. That was the kicker for me, because I'm like, really? I really struggle with that. You're not getting where you need to go because you want to be attaching yourself to the outcome of something. This is who I am, and I'm doing this type of video because on this health and fitness journey, it's more than just, oh, I'm going to get a 6-pack, and I might get a butt, and my boobs going to shrink, and I'm going to have a smaller face shape. It's like, okay, so what are the emotions that are causing you to eat? What are the emotions that are causing you not to want to work out? Why are you being triggered by planning a workout plan?
Why am I triggered?
Why are you being triggered when the pants that you wore 2 years ago don't fit? Why do you not make time to check in with yourself and to see how you are? And then you just emotionally eat because you're stressed about something, but you did not check into why you're stressed. It's more than just like, okay, I'm gonna lift some weights and I'm gonna look cute for Instagram or TikTok. It's what's your emotional well-being. And I didn't know that till I started journaling. Like, okay, so how's my mental? A lack of detailed goal setting is not being completely clear of what I want in totality. I want to work on learning to attaching myself to the process and not the outcome. So I guess I've learned along the way, in order to not attach myself to any type of outcome, I just don't really like get into the nuances of it. However, the comma, that's where the real work kicks in. There should be no step 1 gonna come after step 2 and step 4, step 5 when it comes to a lot of these things. Yes, I do need a detailed step-by-step of like, okay, I have to work out X amount of days a week. I have to be in this calorie deficit. I have to do these type of exercises. The process of it all. Also, I need to ask the detailed questions about my goals. In order to set better goals, I need to use the SMART method. And I'm going to put somewhere on the screen what the SMART method is because I just glanced at it one time and I was like, oh, okay. That might be something I need to try. But I can't really give you no information right now to actually tell you what it is. Number 6, not checking in with myself. Now, before the taping of this set video, I wasn't checking in with myself as much as I needed to. I think for the past 10 years, I've noticed a pattern of, I just don't want to talk to myself right now. Ever since I graduated college, I've just been trying to rip and run and understand what's happening in the moment, and I'm not really doing the things I need to do in order to get me to where I need to go. So checking in with myself every so often really became a big thing on the back burner. I know I'm having these emotions, but I don't know why I'm having all these emotions. And I noticed that when I was doing these journal prompts, a lot of these emotions were coming up because I did not check in with myself and be like, okay, so what's wrong? Now, my mom's going to see this video. She's been telling me to do this for years. Mom, you're right. I know. I already know what you're about to say. I just probably wasn't ready to face all the things that needed to be faced when it comes to checking in with myself to see where I was emotionally. Here's the 5 whys of why I just was not checking in with myself, or I haven't been checking in with myself as much as I should have been. So, first why do I not check in with myself? I wrote, I do not make time to check in with myself, which is fair. Most of us don't. Luckily for me, I'm the type of person, I don't have kids, but I do have an uncle who's autistic, and I do help take care of him with my mom. So my time is technically a little bit more freer than most, but not as free. And I'm not saying this as a complaint. I'm saying this as this is a baseline of my days can be kind of busy. So I wasn't making time to check in with myself because my schedule kind of revolves around him by my own choice. Now, the next question that came up for me was, okay, so why don't you make time to check in with yourself? And I wrote, I do not schedule time for self-reflection. I wasn't making time to reflect on what I need to check in on because I'm thinking like, okay, it's gonna take hours and hours and hours. I don't got that type of time. Now, the next question was, why do I not schedule time for self-reflection? I said maybe I think other things are important at the time and checking in is just not a priority. The next why, so why do I feel like other things are more important than checking in with myself? In this season, I've been focused on helping others that have forgotten about myself and what I really needed. You don't consciously mean to do it, it's just, it kind of happens along the way. And what health and fitness really has brought out for me is like, okay, I do need to check in with myself every so often. But why am I not doing it? Because everything else is taking a priority. Final why is, why am I focusing on others instead of helping myself? Or I guess I feel like people needed my help. Why do I feel like people need my help? I just didn't feel comfortable leaving my family knowing that how I felt, and I'm gonna just be honest, there was no support for them. But my mom has told me plenty of times that I can go off and do my own thing. I was just feeling uncomfortable of, taking the leap of faith and feeling like she has everything that she needs in order for her to do her own thing. So this thing right here has been more of a like, I'm focusing on helping my mom, helping my uncle, and just being a support system for them, that I'm not doing what I need to do to check in with myself. I haven't checked in with myself because I'm focused on other people. So basically, my solution I wrote for not checking in is, the thing I figured out with the problem of me not checking in is I don't make time for self-reflection because I'm focusing on helping my mom and my uncle, which is not a bad thing. It's just a thing that I observe that I'm doing. Make time for myself, even if it's just 5 minutes a day. I need to check in with myself by journaling or some other form. We got 2 more. Anything I've said in this video thus far has helped you, please make sure you leave a like, comment, share, or a subscribe button. You can get more videos like this. Thing number 7, overthinking. I'm like a lot of people and I overthink stuff. So here's my 5 whys of overthinking. Why do I overthink? I'm trying to work out something in my brain. So why am I trying to work out something when it comes to overthinking? I say because I fully don't understand a thing. Why do I not understand the thing? I said it doesn't register the way I thought it should. I don't know why that seems to be a theme of my life. If something don't register as it should, it's whatever. Why is something not going my way bothers me. I want things to go my way, or I want to get it right. I want to prove myself right, or I was right about the thing that I thought of. I want things to go my way. I want it to be right. I want to make sure it's right, etc., etc. I can't stand that, and I'm really gonna work on that because it seems to show up in a lot of bad habits that I can't stand, and it's going to be a hindrance to my fitness journey. Why do I want things to be right, or I want things to go my way? I wrote, I want things to be right or things to go my way because I want to know what to expect, or I want things to go the way I envisioned it. That's basically what it is. All of it ties together, weirdly enough, as I'm reading it. So what I've learned about myself, or the bad habit I have when it comes to overthinking, I just don't know how to handle things when things do not go my way or the things I expected to go. Or what is the solution that I probably will need to implement in order to combat overthinking? Learn to detach from outcomes and fall in love with the process. I've said that like 4 times. That must have been a big problem I've had my whole entire life. To the outcome, you'll get to an outcome, and hopefully a good outcome, but don't attach so much to the outcome or the step or the order things are supposed to go in. Just fall in love with the overall process of something. All right, finally, I've done so much rambling, and just thank you for being with me. Thank you for being with me and sticking around for this part of the video. Hopefully I've said something that kind of have stuck with you, so bear with me as I get to the last habit. And this habit has been a habit that has really had a chokehold on me, and that's why I really want to work on this habit. Probably just as bad, if not as bad, as the inconsistency. Like, let's talk about this habit so you know what I'm talking about. The habit that I really want to work on is dwelling in the past. I can be honest here. I've dwelled a lot in the past about things that haven't I haven't liked the experience of, and it's really have been an emotional roller coaster of I'm staying stuck in this thing, and I'm looking up and I'm like, okay, it's 6 months, it's a year, it's 5 years. Why am I still thinking about that? And I'm like, all right, really got to be honest here of figuring out why I'm dwelling in the past about certain things. So let's get into why I'm dwelling in the past. So, first thing I wrote, why do I dwell in the past? My answer, I have not let go of the action or the event that's bothering me. Why haven't I let go of the action or the event? I wrote, it's something about that action or that particular event that I have not resolved within my spirit. Now, why have I not resolved this issue? I wrote, I did not know the proper solution to resolve this issue at the time. Oh, I probably waited too late for the moment and didn't address it in that moment. And I probably waited too long. And, I didn't want to be addressing it later. And people were like, you still stuck on that? That's what I meant. Okay, ask, why did I not want to deal with the negative feeling or work on the negative feeling that I felt in that moment when that thing happened? And then I just kept playing it over and over in my head. And I'm saying that I didn't want to deal with that negative feeling because that negative feeling hurts. I'm dwelling in the past because there's something negative about an experience that I had or negative about a thing that I went through. And instead of dealing with it right then, I just be trying to brush it off. And then when something happened like that again, I'm going through the cycle of okay, this is like the same thing as last time. And if I'm dealing with a person that had that feeling, instead of addressing that person right then and there, I just let it slide. Now, I said, why do the feelings that you felt in that moment hurt to the point where you're bringing it up again and again and again? And I was like, well, these feelings make me feel a way I don't like, whether I'm sad, hurt, confused, angry, or feel betrayed. Maybe I never spoke to the other person about resolving the issue of how I feel a certain way, or I didn't do it in a healthy way, because most likely I did. It just wasn't healthy. But, you live and you learn. Maybe I never forgave myself when it comes to negative feelings about myself or the other person for the issue because I didn't dissect the whole thing fully. I didn't do the work within that moment to dissect it fully, to fully understand what was happening, why do I feel the way that I feel, and what I need to do to correct it. I just brushed it off to the side. And then when something like that came again, felt the feeling again, and I'm like, all right, I still don't want to feel this. Brush it off again. Then it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds. And next thing you know, I'm like, well, here I am. And I've dwelled in that feeling for so long that I felt like a lot of times I was manifesting the overweight or the anxiousness or the not living the life the way I wanted to because I wasn't dealing with stuff when it needed to be dealt with. And I realized on this fitness journey, I don't want to deal with no more loops. I don't want to be stuck. Well, I wish this would have went differently. I wish I would have taught this person differently. I wish I would have did better on this thing. I wish I would have not gained the weight to make me 189 pounds. I wish I would have put the cheeseburger down 5 cheeseburgers ago. Why am I here dealing with this uncomfortable thing now? I'm saying why now, but it's really more of why this is even at my doorstep now. I could have fixed this a long time ago. But something negative happened a long time ago, and I'm like, I didn't want to fix it then. So now I got to fix it now because I don't want to be looking back 5 years from now okay, why didn't we fix this 5 years ago? Why am I fixing this now? And that's why I want to work on it more than I want to work on inconsistency. Because I don't stick to a plan and be consistent, I look back some future time from the time that I should have been consistent, and I'm like, why am I even here doing this now? And I am so afraid to do that on this fitness journey that I look up another year and I'm like, I could have lost weight last year. I could have worked on this last year. I could have worked on my emotions last year. I could have worked on any of this to not be here right now last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. What was I doing 2 years ago, 3 years ago? And then I slowly, subconsciously remember, I wasn't even in a good place a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, because I wasn't checking in with myself to see where I'm at, to see what I need to work on the anxiousness, to work on the procrastination, to work on the inconsistency, to work on the lack of detail, goal setting, to work on the poor planning. this one is, the dwelling in the past is like a big trigger for me. Like it like every time I don't work on something and something comes up and it like makes me uncomfortable, I'm like, okay, so why didn't I deal with this before? Why didn't I do this before? Why didn't I plan it before? Here's what I've learned about myself when I dwelled in the past or never fully healed by dissecting the event or the thing that triggered me or made me feel uncomfortable. Also, by not working through the negative emotions or feelings that I had and doing the deep work, I just let stuff linger. That's all it is. I never worked on the anxiousness. I never worked on the procrastination. I never worked on the inconsistency. I never worked on the fact that I was dwelling a lot in my past because I had negative emotions I had not dissected through. And all those things subconsciously accumulated and manifested into eating for me, weight gain and just feeling uncomfortable within my body, just feeling like, how I got here. What's happening? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. When I looked at that 189.9 on the scale in July, I'm like, well, how did I get here? That was like the first thing. I'm like, oh, how did I get to 189? What happened? I've been slowly doing the work for months, and this is what I've like noticed. Like I have a lot of things that was just trapped, and I was not working on, and I was just medicating it probably through food and a lot of life stressors I'm not addressing. I'm not putting my boundaries down. I'm not showing up for myself the way I need to show up. And it's manifesting through the weight gain. And that's why I wanted to do, health and fitness. Like I've been trying to do other things on the channel, but I wasn't finding no success. But I felt like with health and fitness and doing this, I found the thing that, have really been helping me tackle who I am as a person and myself. I needed to show up and do journaling for myself. There's been things I've been trying to work on forever, and I'm not addressing them. And surprisingly and ironically, I did not want to do health and fitness as content like 2 years. Well, I've always wanted to lose weight, but I didn't think I would be good enough to do health and fitness content because I was looking at fitness influencers. I did not know that health and fitness in my realm and sector of life will be working on the emotional healing. And that's what I want to show up with my brand of health and fitness as. I am using health and fitness to heal things within myself that I have probably not tackled since I was a little kid. And I want health and fitness to be the conduit to finally be like, okay, I can show up as the woman I've always wanted to be. That's what I'm making these videos for. I want health and fitness to be the conduit to be like, okay, you know what? Listen, you can be whoever you want to be, but you have to do the work to prove to yourself that you can show up to be this person. And I feel like I want to cry, so I'm not going to cry. But it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take it's going to take a lot of walking through the fire. You're going to have to talk to yourself about things that probably have hurt you a lot. But you can be brave enough through this conduit of health and fitness to do it. And I want to document this so y'all can see someone doing it. Like I know y'all watch health and fitness influencers like I do. And I know you be having those thoughts of like, oh, I can't do that. I can't look this way. I can't, show up with the six pack or whatever. But however, I'm not coming on here to be that type of health and fitness influencer. I'm coming on here to be the type of health and fitness influencer to be like, look where I started. I started at the I'm uncomfortable. I started at the I really gotta deal with my emotional well-being. I really started at like the you gotta sit with yourself and journal and really deal with some stuff that's been bothering you since you was 9, 12, 15, 16. And I'm doing the work and you can do it too. So we can both not only show up with the six pack and the bikini that's skinny, but more importantly, we can show up like, okay, we're finally getting to the best version of ourselves that we could possibly be. And that to me is more important. And that is the reason why I named Self Discovery Diaries, because like I said, I'm documenting the stuff I'm discovering about myself. And I'm sharing it with you so I can give you the courage to like, show up as the best possible self. Because I really believe this. And I think I believe this because I work with kids and I used to work with kids a lot. Like, if we all show up as our best selves, the world will be a better place. And I think a lot of times our problems are stemming from we're not showing up as our best version of ourselves. Whether people agree with it or not is another discussion. But I think a lot of us are miserable or suffering because we're not showing up as the best version of ourselves. But we gotta do the deep work. And that's why I'm making these videos. I'm just using health and fitness and what I am falling in love with to say, hey, I'm showing up as the best version of myself. Come along with me, and hopefully I give you some encouragement and you can show up like that too. So what do I mean as a possible solution of me not dwelling in the past? I wrote, as soon as something arises, process it, feel it, speak the emotion, speak my mind, and work with the other party, if it's another party, in a healthy way. I've given you 8 habits that I really want to get rid of, and I've given you the steps of how I figured out the habits and the possible solutions of what I want to do to combat these habits, as well as journaling too. And I know you're like, okay, well, you're a health and fitness channel, you do running, you do side quests. What is the 8 key habits? What does that got to do with anything? I'm basically saying these habits on a personal level have shown up in a multitude of ways in my life that have, either made me gain weight, stopped me from losing weight before, made me feel like I could not lose weight at all at one point. So these habits have been like a big, intricate part of my identity. That's all I'm trying to say. Honestly, to, have a healthy and successful health and fitness journey, I do not only need to tackle my weight and what I eat and exercise, I need to tackle my emotions, because I feel like they're both one and the same. They're both is just as important. Like, you can look cute and you can, wear a swimsuit and a 2-piece or whatever, but if you don't tackle the emotional side of your well-being, for me personally, I'm just gonna gain the weight back. Go. Like, your mental and emotional well-being is just as important as how you look on the outside. I've gotten to the end of the part of the video where I say, like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do moving forward. What I'm gonna say moving forward, what I'm going to do is, this is where the real work begins for me. As much as, I want to say, like, these are the things that I've done in order to fix it. That's not what this video is about. These are the things I've discovered about myself I need to fix. And that's what the channel is about. I'm going to be telling you, like, hey, I found out this about myself while I'm working out, while I'm on this health and fitness journey. And I'm going to do my best to document what I'm doing to change these things. So, when you look up 5 years from now, I don't want no one saying, well, she just did it. She didn't really do no work. Yes, I did. Go back 5 years ago when I documented all this stuff, because I'm not going to hide the fact that I need to work on it. I don't want to be one of those YouTubers or influencers, or however I end up being a content creator. Fake it till you make it really is like not in my vocabulary when it comes to stuff like this. I don't want to sit here and be the person that pretends like, hey, I ain't never struggled. I ain't never had no problems. I just eat and worked out and did all this stuff and voila, everything just appeared. No, I don't want my brand to be built like that. I want my brand to be built on honesty and integrity. I want to build my brand on saying, like, hey, I really had to start journaling in order to get better at health and fitness, because there was emotional things I was dealing with that was not allowing me to, see things when it comes to health and fitness the way I want to see it. So the point of this section of the video is, I can't tell you what's worked for me because I haven't done the work yet. I'm just telling you there's work that needs to be done. And I'm being honest about the things that need to be worked on so I can start doing it. And what I want you to do, and I hope that you do with me, is that you show up and you see me do the work. And when you show up and see me do the work, you get inspired to do the work on yourself in whatever field that it is. For a long time, I felt like I see a person in my head. I see the vision of the person. But how do I get to her? How do I even do the things to get to her? And I want to document me getting to her. I want the channel to be like, okay, if Bree can do it, I can do it. So, but I hope you hear my sincerity of when it comes to this video and any type of video I make forward. And here's the thing I want you to do. I want you to comment one habit you want to get rid of. Like, be as open, as honest, as personable as you can. I want you to start sharing what habit you want to get rid of in the comment, and I want to have a discussion. Like, what's one thing that you want to change about yourself this year? And I hope that I touch on something that will help you change the thing about yourself this year. Please, 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 I really appreciate it. You give me a like, comment, share, subscribe, and please turn on the post notifications so you'll never miss an upload from me when I make these type of videos. I really appreciate you sitting down and listening to what I have to say about the habits I want to get rid of. And I'm really, really hoping that you stick around. So when I do these habits, you'll be like, yeah, I remember she talked about that. And she's doing it, girl. I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for us. I love you. I'll see you soon. Peace.